Okay. My name is Ted Harris. I am with the Pennsylvania Petroleum Association. We are hosting this webinar this morning. I would like to thank the group at the Energy Engine, Andrew and John, for wanting to redo this webinar. We had some technical issues on our end on the PPA side last week, and I know there were some people that were on it and expressed that they would really benefit from kind of seeing it again, and there were some audio issues that we had. So that's why we're doing this morning. For anyone that is on, again, thank you for joining. Appreciate you getting on. In case you jumped on here in the last minute or two, you are going to be muted throughout this presentation. But if you do have questions, please ask them in the chat section. And then once this is over, I will take those questions and ask them to Andrew and John, and I'm sure they'll give you some good insight and give you some good direction on it. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it on to Andrew and John at this time, and thank you again, everyone.
Great, thanks, Ted. Good morning, everyone. My name is Andrew Madeira with the Energy Engine. You're going to hear from John in about 10 or 15 minutes. Wanted to give you a preview on what we're trying to accomplish today, what's on the agenda. Again, I just want to reemphasize, thanks again for joining us for round 2 of this. It's some valuable information, and if you are joining us for a second time, thank you again. Today's agenda: getting started with e-commerce, what that plan looks like, the pillars that make that up, and then John's going to talk to you guys, what it's like, once your online business, is established. So with that, let's get started. Establishing a digital footprint is essential to the success of your e-commerce business. We're living now in a digital world that moves, faster, than we're all probably comfortable marketing in it. That's why, doing marketing, you're hiring out, you're subbing out, for some of your marketing, or you're doing it in-house because you have qualified individuals that understand how to, keep you established and continue to build on your digital footprint. The 5 pillars that we're going to focus on today is your website, search engine optimization. I'm going to talk a little bit about NAP, which is your name, address, and phone number, and then the all-important Google My Business page and social media, and then paid traffic and how it is essential to get a boost on traffic to your site as you begin to dive into the digital world of e-commerce. First pillar, your e-commerce website. This happens to be one of the websites that we've built. It's well built. It has, the company name there in the top. It talks about what they sell. We target, the online user that's a homeowner. And we also supply calls to action above the fold. A lot of, website strategies for e-commerce, don't necessarily follow a lot of the e-commerce strategies that work. We have, done quite a few of these, and, we like to think that we, have good strategies and we have good, ideas for people to, to achieve on. So having a great website is something that is pivotal in starting your online business. All right, next slide, John. Search engine optimization. This has become the #1 driver of online organic traffic. Your organic search traffic will be essential to the long-term success of your e-commerce business. You can't put up a website and not have signs going to it. Google needs to know who you are, where you are, and what you sell. And there's a variety of different ways that you need to do that. And the main objective for, you know, your goal in search engine optimization is to appear on the first page of Google, as well as, you know, the other search engines, Yahoo and Bing. Keyword phrases, you know, depending on, you know, what you're trying to achieve with your e-commerce business, those are the keyword phrases and the algorithms that you should have a qualified SEO person or firm developing, you know, on your website and through your meta descriptions that are built in and coded into your website. We could talk about SEO for a long time, but if there's questions, you know, at the end, or if you want to contact me after and dive into SEO, be more than happy to. One of my favorite things is Google My Business page. I feel like people sometimes have overlooked the importance of this. A really good Google My Business page starts the Google bots off in the right direction. And if you've linked your Google My Business page properly to your website and your social media platforms and your other properties digitally, Google is going to reward you for that on that initial crawl. So I try to stress to people we work with, claim your Google My Business page, you know, get your address on there, get your hours of operation, you know, your phone number, you know, try to get reviews. If you have people on the phone that are thankful that you came out and saved the day, you know, at 10:30 at night or 2 o'clock in the morning, ask them to review you on Google. The Google My Business page is becoming more and more important because Google's bots, before they start to crawl the, you know, the web for all the properties that surround your business, that's where they want to start. And when they start there, they want to see more of the same as they get out into the rest of your properties. So Google My Business page, huge, claim it, make sure it's really good, make sure all the information is accurate. Social media is just, you know, really completely blown up. You know, even in our industry, you know, at this point now, you know, social media is big. You know, this is a chance where, you know, you can talk to customers and prospects about things in your community, you know, things that are happening, maybe donations that you've made, or, you know, programs that you're involved in, you know, and things of that nature. You know, everyone sells either oil or propane or does HVAC. You know, you can't talk about those things every single day. Otherwise, you're not going to get a lot of people to follow. So there has to be a social media strategy in place for you. Wilcox Energy in Connecticut does a nice job, you know, with it. But starting sometimes when traffic comes through your social media platform and they really like what they see there, and they get to the website and the content and the value proposition that they see, friendly, fun, really good company on social media, and they get to your website and they see the same, they're interested at that point. So again, keeping all of your properties the same, you know, especially your NAP, your name, address, phone number, you know, and just your presence, you know, the way you appear to them. Social media, very important. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys today about is, you know, launching your e-commerce website. If you're looking to have some major traffic drivers, you know, pay-per-click, Google retargeting ads, Facebook retargeting ads have become quite popular too. People are on websites constantly now, and then they go right back to social media and they bounce back and forth. Well, we want to remind them, you know, hey, you saw us, you know, a few clicks ago. So pay-per-click, retargeting ads, easy ways to continue to drive traffic to those sites initially while your search engine optimization is starting to go through the process of ranking, you know, and making that crawl to the first page of Google. And that's really it from me. I'm going to turn it over to John.
All right. Well, thanks, Andrew, for those comments. And one of the reasons why, when we were putting together this presentation, we said, hey, it's really important to start out with acknowledging the importance of that digital footprint. And as you can probably tell from Andrew's comments this morning, and kind of kudos to Andrew, hasn't been feeling well for the last 3 days. So thanks for making the effort this morning, Andrew, to share your thoughts. But marketing digitally is different than certainly all of us that have been in the business or around the business for a good number of years have been accustomed to. And as one of the things that we focus with our clients is to try and provide the guidance on how to get that traffic to the website, like Andrew talked about, because there are some misconceptions out there from some companies, and as hard as we try to change those misconceptions, there's still some people that think, well, if I build this e-commerce website, they will come. If you build it, they will come. It doesn't work that way. So you need to really be able to know how to do the things that Andrew's talking about, or have the qualified resources to be able to help you get those things done, so you get that traffic. But if you do follow Andrew's tips, we're going to take you through a day in the life of an e-commerce field marketer. So what I want you to do is kind of just relax a little bit, kind of sit back. Hopefully you have a cup of coffee, and just imagine that this is you for about the next 10 minutes. So just think, you're the general manager of a thriving e-commerce fuel business. It's Monday morning. Actually, today's Wednesday morning. But think of it that it's Monday morning, and your business, your e-commerce business, has been open all weekend long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because people can go on your e-commerce site. They can transact business with you 24 hours a day, whenever it's most convenient to them. So now you walk into the office on Monday morning. What does it hold for you? And oh, by the way, there's a cold blast coming tomorrow. Now, coincidentally, where most of you are sitting, certainly where I am sitting, it is the coldest day so far this winter. So not all that difficult to imagine just what happens in the traditional business when it gets cold. But let's see how things change, or how things are different if you're running an e-commerce business. So you get into the office early, as you typically do, and about 6:55, you're sitting down at your desk, taking a look at your calendar to see what the day holds for you in terms of your schedules. And you see like you've got a pretty busy day planned. Your call center doesn't open until 8 o'clock. Phones go live at that point. You've got some other things you need to take care of in the office. And then this afternoon, you actually have 2 big meetings. You've got your monthly financial meeting with your accountant. And right after that, you've got your monthly marketing performance meeting with your marketing resources and your internal people that support that as well. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty darn busy Monday. So we better get to it. So one of the first things that I do before the office gets crazy is I log into my e-commerce system to take a look at what's happened since we closed the office on Friday evening. You take a look, and what do I see is, wow, there's been a lot of activity. 52 orders over the weekend. Already 19 of those orders our dispatcher has on trucks out for delivery today. The remainder are scheduled. And holy cow, as I look at this, the average order quantity placed was over 270 gallons per order. Wow. Now, I'll just pause a little bit at that point, because that's the order quantity. It's not the delivered quantity. The delivered quantity will be less than that, because some people order fills, and obviously you're not going to you're going to deliver something less than that fill quantity. But one of the things, and we'll talk a little bit about that briefly just a little bit later, that you will find in the e-commerce world, particularly if you follow some of the guidance that we provide, is your delivered, your average drop will be significantly larger than your conventional drop in the business, which is somewhere, depending upon the sources that you look at, somewhere between 139 and 150 gallons, somewhere in that neighborhood. This particular client, who's this is actually actual data when we put together this presentation. This particular client, average drop size is just a hair over 200 gallons, 12 months a year. For the entire Energy Engine network, it's about 186 gallons or so average drop. So much, much higher than the conventional drop, which has a lot of benefits for you. But the office hasn't even opened yet, and all this activity is underway because so much of this stuff in an e-commerce environment, certainly on an automated platform, works when the customer wants it to work. All right, so now we move ahead. We're coming up on 8 o'clock. The phones are getting ready to go live, and all of a sudden, you have your office manager or your call center manager walk into your office with this frantic look on her face. And those of you that have been in the business long enough have seen this kind of look. I just know it. But the call center is about to open. The cold temperatures are coming, and she says, "Boss, I need your help. It's the first cold snap of the season. Jess just called off sick. Jake is stuck in traffic, and I have a doctor's appointment at 11:30. I don't know what I'm going to do. I need your help." So if you can relate to that, it's one of those things that will cause you a little bit of anxiousness, and say, "Hey, that's not my idea of kind of a fun morning." Even if you're not have to worry about things like getting the drivers out. Taking care of, getting everybody out of the yard and everything else. So anyway, sometimes Monday mornings, because I've lived there, is a pretty frantic time. So an hour and 15 minutes goes by, and you decide you had calmed down. Your customer service manager said, "Hey, it's going to be okay. I'm here to support you, with what you need." So 9:15, you go out and you check on your call center crisis, and here's what you find. Yep, it's cold, but our call center volume is less than before we had our online order option because more customers are now going directly online to self-serve, and they want to do that. They prefer to do that. They find it convenient to be able to do that. So consequently, you're not experiencing spikes in volume like you do in a traditional call center or traditional operational environment. So your peak in terms of that traffic, that crisis is averted. So you take the opportunity, since everything's under control, to actually monitor a few incoming calls. And these are real examples of things that come up. One call, you see that the CSRs are doing a good job for those COD phone customers, those traditional COD customers that we have as part of our business, that they're telling those customers about the online ordering option, the convenience that's available to them, and maybe the opportunity to save a little bit more money because our online customers get a little bit better price because it costs us less to serve those customers online. So the CSRs are doing a good job of letting the customers know that option's available, but if they want to keep calling, that's okay too. Monitored another call, and we had a full service customer that decided that they were going to cancel their full service program for budgetary reasons. And we all know the challenges that we face in the industry in terms of maintaining and acquiring new full service customers, because the kind of the paradigm and the millennials coming in, buying homes and so forth, and more of us doing things online is really just changing the environment of what our customers want. So in this particular case, the CSR talking with the customer and asking them questions about, what their needs really were, actually moved that customer to the new online option once the CSR understood what that customer was trying to accomplish. So the CSR saved the customer for the business rather than that customer going to a competitor, which often happens in a situation like that. And then we get to the third example, and we had a new online customer who called in, like the convenience of buying online, but prefers to actually be on a budget plan to spread the payments. And our CSR told them, well, in order to do that, we can in fact do that for you. and actually moved that customer then into an automatic delivery full service program. So the point is, and again, these are real examples that have happened and happen on an ongoing basis with companies that execute an e-commerce platform, is you have customers that move back and forth between the different service levels in your business based upon what their particular needs are. And the important thing for you is that you are able to service the needs of that customer as their needs change. All right, so we got through the morning, we had some lunch, we come back in, and it's about 1:15, and I log in and I check my e-commerce dashboard to see what happened this morning. And I see that things are pretty much under control. Dispatch is doing well. All orders that came in this morning have been pulled and they've been scheduled in our system, so we know when we're going to make the deliveries. The customers were informed by email when we expected to make that delivery, so they're not calling our office. I look at our delivery performance. Our delivery performance looks great. Our dispatcher, depending upon when we're in the area, we're actually getting 24% of our online orders are over the last 30 days have been delivered the same day. 96% of our e-commerce orders have been delivered on time, because we do that within 3 business days. And we have 4%, so that leaves 4% of our orders that are late. I think they're probably due to tank inspections, first delivery tank inspections, but that is something that I should check on with dispatch to make sure that we don't have any orders falling through the cracks. So you have the ability to look at your dashboard, and within a few graphs or just a short bit of information, you can find out what's going on. And if you want to know more, you just click and you drill down to get more detail as needed. All right, so moving on through the day, it's now 2:30, and we move into our monthly financial meeting. And we have our outside accountant that comes in, and many of you probably use outside accountants for the business. You probably have a financial person inside the business as well that's part of the meeting. And your operations people are also in there too, because you're always talking about costs of operations and so forth. So our green eye shades accountant opens up the meeting by saying, hey, I noticed some things about your e-commerce business, and I wanted to spend some time with that this month and want to bring some things to your attention. Because again, e-commerce is different than the traditional business on the financial side as well. So the accountant starts off and he says, hey, let's talk about payment processing. Because that's one of the areas where, you know, one of the things that I said was, hey, when you go to e-commerce, now all of a sudden you have everybody paying by credit card, so you have an increased cost for your merchant processing fees. Absolutely true. Matter of fact, assuming that you didn't take any credit cards before, you actually have an increased cost somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 4 cents per gallon in order to process every order with a credit card. Might be a little bit high, yours might be a little bit less based upon the arrangement that you have with your merchant processor. But at the same time, the accountant knows enough about your business and how you deliver other on-demand or COD will call type of orders, that there are other changes that take place in the business. Now all of a sudden you don't have any bad checks. You don't have any redeliveries for those people that said that they were going to be home to pay or they were going to leave payments for you and they forget to do that. And then you have to go back and make a redelivery. I can bet a week's pay that there are some of you on the phone that still extend at least to some of your call-in customers credit. So that would carry a cost in terms of the cost of money, potentially some bad debt. We didn't factor anything in there. And you have some other things also that work in your favor. E-commerce orders are different than traditional COD orders in terms of delivering them a lot like automatics. You go out to the house, you connect, your driver knows, what they're delivering, then they have to set the meter stop. But it's much more like an automatic delivery. Customer doesn't have to be home, don't have to make sure that the payment's there and so forth. So consequently, your drivers are more efficient. So anyway, we went through this detail with our accountant on payment processing, and he said, you know, even though you're paying more for credit cards, you're essentially breaking even. Maybe you're saving a little bit of money even on the payment processing side. But you have some other areas where you also have some different costs. And I'm not going to go through detail on all of these so that we save some time this morning, because this could be an entire webinar unto itself. But in the customer care area, you save big in terms of serving those customers online. The other place, and not many customers realize this until they actually get into the e-commerce business, is your operational areas of the business, particularly in terms of your fleet, are big, big savings. And a lot of that comes from that drop size that we mentioned just a couple of pages ago in terms of big savings. So the net out of our 2:30 monthly financial meeting is our accountant is saying, hey, at this particular point in your business, I'm seeing savings per gallon of about 13 cents a gallon. So it can, in fact, be very considerable. And matter of fact, I can say from experience with our clients that if you're in a situation where you have, for example, higher delivery costs than maybe the industry averages, the higher your delivery costs, the more you will actually save in an e-commerce environment. All right, so we got through our financial meeting, and we go right into our monthly marketing performance meeting, and we have our outside resources assembled and so forth. And again, for the sake of time this morning, we're not going to be able to go into all of the detail, but I wanted to give you some high points in terms of marketing in an e-commerce environment. If you don't remember anything else about marketing in an e-commerce environment, it's this. Everything that you're doing is measurable. Much different than historically what we've been able to accomplish in marketing. In the e-commerce world, in the digital world, virtually everything that you do is measurable. So your marketing resources can work against specific objectives, and you as management can hold your folks accountable for meeting those objectives, and you know where you're getting the best return on your investments. So just kind of putting some of this in perspective, there are actually 3 conversion points that you need to make in an e-commerce environment. You heard Andrew, what Andrew said opening the webinar, that you need to have a good website with calls to action. You need to have people coming there and then converting. SEO helps drive that traffic. Your Google My Business page is extremely important and critical. Social media strategy, pay-per-click maybe works into that. You know, we provide guidance to our clients in terms of actually the number of visitors that, you know, starting out, you should expect to be able to get to your website, or that should be the goal that you work at, and give you the other metrics like bounce rates that you need to watch in order to drive that traffic. So the first job is to drive traffic to the website, because nothing happens until somebody gets there to be able to look at the offer that you have. Once they get there, then you want to convert that traffic. You want them to take action. You want them to say, okay, I'm interested. You want them to register. The registration is a new customer for you. And a lot of that conversion then can take place within automation that may already be part of your e-commerce platform. Things like behavioral marketing, marketing that takes place automatically based upon the behavior that an individual visitor demonstrates when they go to the website. E-blasts that can go out. I saw in my inbox over the course of the last few days, clients all over the Northeast just sending reminders out to their customers and their prospects about the cold weather coming, and reminding them to just check their fuel level and to go ahead and place an order early to keep their family safe and warm. those types of e-blasts in an e-commerce environment, you can get messages out very quickly to people. If we go back a week or so ago, some of those emails that were going out were talking about the storm that was coming up the coast and the snow that was going to be hitting New Jersey or up into New England. And, snow, heating oil, propane on demand is a lot like bread, milk, eggs, and toilet paper, and particularly if you put that reminder out there to say, hey, check your fuel level, get your order in, especially if there's a snow or some sort of weather event that might delay deliveries. It's very, very measurable in terms of converting your traffic. How many customers do you want to acquire? What's your goal for a month? What's your goal for a season? And then finally, the third step is to nurture the relationships that you have, with your customers. And again, most of this can be done automated, but you also have the ability to measure things like repeat rates, referral rates, and so forth, which is a measure of just how strongly these customers feel about their relationship with you. And one of the things that we're finding with e-commerce is we have clients that are able to get loyalty rates from their on-demand customers. And remember, a lot of times in the industry, there's this perception that this customer that buys on a COD basis is not a loyal customer. In the e-commerce world, by using the techniques that are available now digitally to be able to communicate, build the relationships with those customers, they do in fact rival the loyalty that we see on the full service side as well. So they can come to you, they may initially shop around, they may be motivated by price initially, but if you build that relationship, we are easily seeing repeat rates in this area are on average, and actually repeat rates as high as just about 80%. So it can in fact be done. But here's the takeaway, like I mentioned going in, everything is measurable. So you know where you're investing your money, if you're getting a return. If it's not working properly, you know where to make the adjustments in order to make your business more successful. So, all right. So we're getting later in the afternoon. It's about 4:30, and I decide to kind of walk into our accounting area and visit with our accounting folks, see how things are going. And they've got smiles on their face. Deliveries are being posted as our drivers are making the deliveries or the data is coming back in. We, in the e-commerce world, the customer is paid by credit card. So they've already done that online. So our folks in the office don't have to have the terminals there punching. They're not punching in any credit cards. It's already been done. Matter of fact, depending upon how quickly your merchant processor is working, many times you actually have money in your bank by the time you're making the delivery, maybe a couple of days out from when the order is placed. But everything should be automated. There should be no manual entries being made. Matter of fact, not even for credits. If a customer ordered, say, 200 gallons, paid for 200 gallons, that's good. You're not going to have any bad debt. But suppose you get out there, you can only deliver 180. You need to credit back to that customer's credit card, that 20-gallon difference. That also should be an automated process, so you're not taking up the time or potentially errors that are made, in the office, actually crediting those. You're not handling any cash. You're not handling any checks. And like I said, oftentimes revenue is already in the bank. So the fulfillment of the e-commerce orders is actually so much easier than we used to do, and then to a certain extent we still do in the conventional business. So we get to the end of our day, and that's kind of a whirlwind summary of of what happens in the day of an e-commerce marketer. So just taking a quick second to review what we covered today. Andrew opened up with e-commerce. I know most of you on the call, if you're not already doing it, are probably saying, yeah, I know I need to be doing more online. You have to do it, but how to do it is a question. And we get that all the time, and we respect that. And that's one of the reasons why why Andrew talked about, following the roadmap in order to get that traffic and then be able to convert that traffic as well. You are now legitimately open 24/7, 365. And Monday morning, you saw how many orders were already in the system, and if you look closer at the timestamps on those orders, you would see people placing those orders at 2 o'clock in the morning. Believe it or not, they do. And the key point there is you have your business available to that customer when it's most convenient for them to do it. If they came home from work they got home at 6:30 in the evening, they said, oh my God, I was supposed to call today and place an order for fuel. Hey, they can go directly online to your business and place that order, and you're working with that order the next morning when your folks get it. Customers enjoy self-serve. We've seen it. Amazon has showed us that. Other major online businesses continue to do that. We see Walmart tipping the scale in terms of their investment from stores to online, because that's where their customers want to go as well. Your customer care is greatly simplified. In the office, customer care is still extremely critical, except you need to be able to do it online. You need to give people all that information that they need when they're making that decision. You enjoy significant cost savings in your business in a number of different areas. Marketing is measurable, and without a doubt, as we watched the last few years, the e-commerce fuel sales is the fastest growth area in the industry as more and more customers just push us there. So over to the right of this page, if you're familiar with the British saying from World War II, keep calm and carry on, it kind of changed that to keep calm. We would encourage you to just study e-commerce and what's possible for your business. It's an exciting, fast-growing, for some businesses still an emerging area of their business, but certainly an area that our clients are seeing that holds a lot of potential. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Ted, and Andrew and I will stay on the line as long as we need to answer any questions that you might have.
Excellent, John and Andrew, well done. We did have a couple questions come in. I'm going to ask them by the most recent one. I'm going to read this word for word here, so stick with me for a moment. Do you require a user to choose the gallons to be delivered? If a user is requesting a full delivery, what quantity is charged to their credit card? What do you do for a customer that overpays due to the calculation of the charge?
John, do you want to take that one, or you want me to?
Either way.
Okay. Again, I want to handle this question as politically correct as possible. There's different e-commerce platforms out there, and then there's portals, and there's different options for an e-commerce business. I'm going to answer that question from an energy engine software perspective, because that's the software that I know the best. If a user orders a tank fill or 275 gallons, depending on their tank size that they have registered, with their customer profile inside the energy engine. On the energy engine, you can customize how many gallons that their card is charged for, because we know that there's only so many usable gallons in a 275 or 330, 550, and so on. Everything inside the energy engine is customizable for the end user, which would be the fuel dealer. But in reference to how the money is exchanged, if they ordered a fill and they only took 200 on a 275, when the ticket came back, the gallons would get put into the software on how many actually gallons were delivered, and as soon as you hit update, the software settles the card right then and there, puts the credits where they're due, and then debits what what is needed, you know, if it needs to go the other way as well.
And Andrew, if I could,
Excellent.
I'll just add to that too with a little bit of history. When Adrian and I first got involved in e-commerce, going back, 17, 18 years ago now, at that particular point, the merchant processors, we pre-authorized the card. So we knew we weren't going to have bad debt, but then we settled the card after the delivery was made. Shortly after we developed the technology for the energy engine back in 2010, the rules, the merchant processing recommendations changed, and we were strongly encouraged, as has become the best practice, to charge the card at the time of order, and as Andrew described, have the automated platform established so that as soon as the gallons are posted, the customer gets that automatic credit back to their card. That actually works extremely well. The customers accept that. From your standpoint as a fuel dealer, it is also the least expensive way for you to process that transaction. If you do a pre-auth, it actually winds up costing you more. So on your side of the business, it works to your advantage also. But most importantly for the customer, which is what this is all about, they accept that, and it works just fine.
Excellent. Thank you, John and Andrew. I added the other two questions to the chat for everyone to see. I should be able to see them, hopefully. But for the sake of the recording of this webinar, I'm going to ask them out loud. So the second one, I know this was in the one slide that John was covering, but the direct question was, how do you save 13 cents per gallon by selling online?
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and tackle that one, because I'm kind of the guy that kind of watches the numbers very closely for our network. There are two areas, the two largest areas of savings. As I mentioned, is your average drop size, and if anyone would like to probe on that further, I'd be glad to spend time off of this webinar with you and more detailed. So feel free to drop me an email or just give me a call. But the biggest savings is that drop size. It can absolutely work magic in your business in terms of your fleet operations and being more efficient. And if you're running a delivered cost, I believe the industry average is somewhere around $27.80 or something per delivery. If your cost to make a delivery is higher than that, some people would tell me, hey, it doesn't cost us that. It costs us $35 to make that delivery. If it really does cost you $35 in the e-commerce world, your savings are even going to be higher than that. The other savings is on the customer care side, and in order to realize those savings, and they're very real. These are all, matter of fact, all the examples that you've seen in the presentation today is real live data that we've just either taken from a particular dealer or come out of our network metrics. But customer care can in fact be done very, very well online. If you think about, and all of us are probably Amazon shoppers. It's the holiday season, so we're probably using Amazon more than we do other times of the year. I have never, as many years as I've been buying from Amazon, and as much as my wife and I buy from Amazon, have never talked with an Amazon person because they do on their site everything so well that it answers all your questions. And going back to Andrew and the slide where he showed the Rockies web page, is a lot of the thinking that goes into the development of that page is exactly that. Make sure that whatever's on the customer's mind is answered so that they don't have to pick up the phone and call you. And if you're doing that well, that's easily going to save you, that amount of money. We say, when we're talking with clients, we say, hey, you can expect to save about 10 cents a gallon. Your order fulfillment cost is going to be about 10 cents a gallon less than it would be to process an order by phone. But you may in fact be higher than that as well.
Very good. Makes sense. And the third question that we had come in, I think, was on the front end of the presentation when Andrew was talking. In regards to Google, how long does it take to get on the first page of Google organically?
Great. To get on the first page of Google, let's just take a brand new website, unestablished, no properties attached to it. The first things first is you start with your Google My Business page, you claim it, and you set it up properly, and you link it to your site, and you build out your site, and you make it really accepting, as John talked about, so it's set up for e-commerce and people aren't picking up the phone. And you have a really good firm come in and do the keyword, set up the algorithms, and things like that. It's a 6-month process, and it takes time. But the things, that really help to enhance your visibility, and help to speed up that process is traffic. And that's why I use that fifth, item on what I was talking about is initial traffic drivers, because the one thing that Google looks for when they're ranking a website is, specifically a newer site to give them, a better, ranking is, website traffic, time on the site, so if you're getting good traffic and they're spending a, amount of time on your site that's, qualified in Google's eyes for an e-commerce site, they're gonna put you out there, as more of an organic listing for the keywords that you're ranking for. So yeah, it's a 4 to 6 month process depending on how the level of commitment that you put into it.
Very good. At this point, we do not have any other questions that came in. Andrew and John's contact information is on the screen. Certainly, if you have a direct question for them, please feel free to reach out. If you would like to reach out to me and have myself connect you with them, I have no problem doing that either. But with that being said, I appreciate everyone's time, and Andrew and John, I appreciate you guys being willing to do this again here. And I hope everyone found it valuable, and hope everyone has a great rest of the day. Take care.
Happy holidays, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ted.
See you guys.